So today, something interesting happened. I was out of town selling strawberries, as I do, because I like having disposable income and all that. And a guy walked up to my stand and he asked, "Hey man, do you sell strawberries?" And I was like, "Yeah man, I sell strawberries." And he was like, "Cool man." And that is the story how your dad gave me permission to fuck your mum. Hello everyone and welcome to Fast Food Thursday. Now special edition because there's the whole all these new $20 plus patrons need to be serviced with a special edition, and they all need to I'm trying to turn this into at least a bi-weekly thing, probably a weekly thing, so that I can service all of these new $20 plus patrons. The thing is, I am literally the only person here right now. That is the thing. That is the case. So, come on. Yeah, that's like the only minor problem that we have, is that none of the new all the old $20 plus patrons are showing up on this first Thursday of the month as they ought to, but have instead resolved to have private lives or some such. So we are alone in this up in this bitch, as they say. Not even any of the mods showed up. Like, this just genuinely, it's just nobody came. I was terrified that this was gonna be like, oh shit, I have all these new patrons. Which, you know, it's not oh shit, obviously. It's fucking amazing that I have all these new patrons. That, like, it's sort of, my life has been changed substantially by that whole thing. And yeah, I was terrified this was going to be a huge stream with all the too many people that we don't like. I don't know what to do with all these people. But now I'm the only one here. I didn't even consider that possibility to be a thing. Hello, everyone. Oh, Cody's coming on. That's good. Add some plebs. Not going to do that. First stream for some of you guys. Hey, that is very good. These are not really worth watching. They're mainly for the people who pay me money when they do decide to show up. But yeah, I think I'm going to send like an official DM over Patreon out to all the patrons now soon, to make sure that everybody understands that there's now going to be more than one Fast Food Thursday, because with all the people that are there, and I try and get it like every 2 weeks, because after the next Thursday I should be coming back from Denmark. And I will be hungover from like 5 days of drinking uninterrupted. So I'd like to save some of that energy to be able to do a video on Friday. Hello, Draconic Rain. Cool. I do recognize you from somewhere, I think. We may have corresponded at some point. This is a lot more bitter than I expected. It's probably really good to make shandy with this. I have an idea. I'm getting an idea right now. See, because there's this really cool stuff. Is you know the blue Fanta? I don't even know what it's called. It's some Eastern European thing that people in Eastern Europe drink.
What's up?
The other Cody is here. Hello.
The guest of honor has arrived.
Yeah, obviously. It's like,
I actually can't even stay on for too late because it's my anniversary today.
oof. Well, then go be anniversarizing, my man. Don't spend your time with
Date's
me.
not until 6.
Yeah, nobody showed up.
Yeah, I know. I forgot it was Thursday today, honestly. And then I saw the notification on my way home from work. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'll jump on there for a little bit.
This is genuinely the weirdest thing that's ever happened. No, I have. Then I have this idea now. I could make shandy with this. But when the glass is half empty, I'm gonna get that, because I have some of the blue Fanta in my fridge. I think that might actually go off quite well. The bitterness of this beer, it's the very, very hoppy bitterness. It's very light still, light-bodied. It's not too heavy. That with the sweetness of that. I think it's not some berry. It's like a flower. I'm pretty sure. I'll get a can in a moment.
What is it?
Blue Fanta. But like light blue Fanta. So it's not
Fanta as in like... Wasn't Fanta made by the Nazis? Or am I thinking of a different soda?
No, that was made during the Third Reich. Yes, I think it was. I will probably butcher.
It was something that was made because Coke wasn't selling to them anymore.
Exactly.
Like
it was. I'm gonna butcher this. It was like the Germans wanted their own soft drink because American soft drink corporations weren't selling them anymore, and so they made their own, and that's where Fanta comes from.
Yeah, it is Fanta. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what's your opinion of Kölsch? Obviously, I have a patriotic duty to support Kölsch, and I actually like drinking it very much because you can drink copious quantities of it. I mean, not really, but you can drink a lot of glasses because it's served in O2 glasses. Plus, Peters Kölsch is like genuinely one of the top 5 beers to me. Though I do still prefer Irish beer.
Well, like Guinness and stouts and things like that.
I'm not actually a huge fan of Guinness. I prefer Kilkenny.
I haven't had it. I've only had Guinness for in terms of like Irish beers. Although I've had like different kinds of it because they have like for an extra stout.
Yeah. No, Guinness is not bad, but it tastes way too much like coffee. Kölsch, I love water too. That is like when you don't have any taste buds and you don't know how to actually get the proper flavors out of beer because you're, fucking barbarian, then yeah, you will compare Kölsch to water.
Labs.
You have to aerate the beer a little bit. You have to drink the beer for taste. Then you will taste the beer.
Dude.
Pardon?
I was saying let it breathe.
Yeah. I mean, let it breathe in your mouth. You should always slurp wine, too.
Yeah. I'm actually going to a wine tasting later today.
Oh, that's your date?
Uh-huh. I'm in a wine club, so I get a free tasting every month. Our actual anniversary thing's going to happen next week because we have a hotel getaway in a place.
Nice. The which month anniversary is it?
Our 6-year anniversary.
That's pretty cool.
Yup.
And I like the couple anniversaries thing. It's pretty nice. It's a nice thing to do. Yeah, that's basically all I had to say about that.
It is in fact a nice thing to do.
Does the audience have some questions, maybe? I couldn't imagine we're having to wait until I'm 21 to drink. Americans don't wait until they're 21 to drink.
Yeah, we don't. We drink when we're I started drinking at I had my first beer probably at 15, maybe. I got really drunk.
Right. Yeah.
No, actually, I got drunk when I was 15. I think I probably had my first beer when I was 13. I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, we just hide it. We just drink old bottles of Chardonnay in the back porch of someone's house while their parents are gone or something. You just don't get into high class drinking until you're 21.
I am gonna go get one of those Fantas now.
All right then. I guess I'll answer questions now that Burger isn't here. What do we think of the Borg?
They are a thing that exists in Star Trek.
You made an entire video about the Borg that one time, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it wasn't really about the Borg. It was
Well,
just.
yeah, but you used the Borg as the example for it of a
It's
hive
still
mind
like
society.
one of my favorite videos that I ever
It's a
did.
good video.
I think it was.
I don't necessarily agree with it entirely in the sense of like if you know anything everything and have access to everyone's emotions and memories, you would still forget it and then you would upload it to yourself
But you
and then you would
wouldn't. No, you
experience that
wouldn't
thing.
forget it. That's the premise. You can't
Why
just
wouldn't you
go,
forget?
oh, well, I have another premise, therefore your premise is wrong. That's
Well,
gay.
I think the misunderstanding is you're assuming that like everything's being stored in like the, without a better term for it, the RAM of someone's brain, whereas the hard drive would be the entire collective.
Yeah, that's what it means to be a hive mind. So this Fanta is like this very beautiful shade of blue. It says Shakata on it. I don't know. I don't know if you can read that. I don't actually know what the fuck that means. And it's probably in Polish. Zawiera sok cytrynowy. So it's probably something with a citrus fruit. And it has a ghost. What is this ghost thing down here? I don't know what that is. I see this everywhere. I'm not sure what it is. Holunderblüte. That might be it. I mean, it does look like it. It is pretty tasty, but the most disappointing thing is it is actually not, in fact, blue, but it is white, as you can see, and I just spilled a bunch of it because I'm a fucking moron. Just wanted to show you that the stuff is actually white. Boom, this happens. Gotta get some. I'll be back in a moment.
All right, Brandy says that they have nothing intelligent to ask.
The ghost is a Snapchat QR code. Why
Oh,
does
cool.
Fanta have Snapchat? Is it gonna send me nude
'Cause marketing?
pictures? Oh, this
Just a
is
marketing thing.
excellent. You smell the it's the probably a little more beer would be appropriate, but it has the sweetness of the Fanta while also which doesn't overpower the hoppy bitterness of the beer, and it's all still very light bodied. Ooh.
Sweet things with hops really is underrated. One of my favorite mead brands adds hops to their mead, and it gives it a little extra flavor to it. It's great.
It's this like beer purists, oh, never mix your beer with anything, especially not sweet stuff. It's like, no, motherfucker, it tastes good. It tastes really good.
It all depends on the beer.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a really nice one, maybe you should just have it by itself in certain circumstances.
Yeah. Just add a bit more beer to this mix. There are beers, if you have a really good Weizen, banana juice actually goes with it very well. It's a staple in many German drinking establishments.
Alexis Loomis, have you ever tried crack?
I have, in fact, not.
I haven't, but I know someone who has.
I'll do that when I move to Canada and try to become the mayor of Toronto.
That's a good plan, honestly.
That's the. I think you have to do that, otherwise you can't run for the seat.
In the application form.
Yeah, it's like, do you do crack like right now? And you have to write yes, otherwise they go nah.
When you get signed in, you have to inject 3 marijuanas into your bloodstream before they even let you do it.
Yeah, and also you have to be fat and your head has to be red.
I got one of those.
Thoughts on LSD? It's pretty good, but it can also be pretty bad.
And it's a drug that's very situational to the person, which I guess most are.
But
it's not as bad as people say it is from the experiences I've heard secondhand. But also it can have beneficial aspects to it, but it also can be real nasty.
I
The wrong
think-
context.
I think I've done it once, and it was pretty good. It was funny, above all, because it was just so absurd. Obviously, it's fucking LSD. I didn't have any of the you now fix your own internal problems that thing that didn't happen, and I also wouldn't want to take it while depressed.
That's a bad idea, yeah.
Yeah. Shrooms I actually haven't taken, but I am looking forward to it. I think I might like microdose stuff. I think I might generally be more into microdosing hallucinogens.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. A mate of mine nearly died on one acid trip I was on. Terrifying at the time, but funny looking back. What?
Did he like try and jump off a cliff or something, or?
It was an acid trip you were on and he died? Did you try to kill him? What the fuck?
He's implying they were all on it collectively, and one of them was just like, "Hey,
Have a
wouldn't it be
trip
fun if I
sitter.
juggled this gun?" Yes, you gotta have a sitter.
And, you know, if you're going to have several people in one sitter, that better be a licensed psychiatrist. What do you about Mr. Meatman's video on Mumkey Jones? I know that Mumkey Jones exists. That is as far as that goes.
I've seen a few of his videos. I don't know who Mr. Meatman is.
Yeah. I think fucking Mumkey Jones is pretty funny. Thoughts on robot / CGI Instagrammers? Wait, has technology really come that far? Am I old? What the fuck?
I know of like anime like celebrity personalities and things.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
what do
I've
they
never heard
call
of, like,
those? They have a name.
I don't know.
Yeah, they have a specific name. Those have been around forever at this point.
Yeah, I don't know of any CGI ones though.
I mean, they are technically CGI. Both on acid, he downed a beer, snorted a line of ketamine, and was already on antidepressants. Well,
That's...
what are you, fucking stupid? Guy just...
It reminds me of those fucking... There was... Do you ever see the reports of the study that they did, that the DEA did on kratom? Wait
a second. Guy just collapsed and I just got up and kicked him until he broke out of it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What were you saying, Cody?
So there was a report that the I think it was the DEA or something like that. Some agency in the U.S. government did a report on kratom.
Yeah.
And the report listed, I think, like 30-something deaths that are from kratom. But if you actually look into the cases involved into what those deaths were, one guy fell out a window. Another guy was also on, like, heroin. So, like, it's all cases like that where it's just like... Like, man, kratom, sure, it's a dangerous drug.
It's like that thing that intelligence agencies do nowadays. That I really, really enjoy. This is especially in Germany, right? In Germany, you have this thing where they will... right-wing violence is going up, especially anti-Semitic violence. The statistics have, in the past 1, 2, 3 years, just risen insanely. Like, it's insane how much those have risen. Especially, like, anti-Semitic violence and, like, crimes. The interesting thing is that they are all defined as right-wing violence. Any anti-Semitic hate crime or just utterance is classified as being right-wing. So when a bunch of Muslims hate the Jews, which, like, almost all of them do, at least the ones that come from the Middle East recently, that's right-wing violence. When parts of Antifa go up against Israel, which many of them do, that's right-wing violence. And the question is, why do intelligence agencies do it, like domestic intelligence services, define it that way? Well, Yeah, it's because the main political opposition against surveillance of the people, it comes from the left wing. And if you want to convince left wing politicians to approve your surveillance schemes, you have to frame it as though you would use it against the right wing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not technically inaccurate because like Islamist extremists are a type of right wing extremism.
That's
it's
true.
Just different
yeah.
from like I don't know what the German equivalent of Cletus with his shotgun going into the abortion clinic is, but I guess unironic Nazis or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's this strange thing because, like, conservative Wahhabi and Salafi Muslims are just genuinely, like, they're right wing authoritarians. They're basically like Christian evangelicals, and they're in a similar area on the political spectrum as like Nazis and shit, and fascists. But somehow the left wing protects them politically and from the people that, and declares everyone who sort of criticizes these authoritarian right wingers as being someone who is much more like the conservative Muslims on the political spectrum. It's this absurd thing that where I don't even understand where that comes from.
It comes from the idea that a lot of times when people are doing criticisms of, say, a government in the Middle East or an organization, they will then take that step afterwards to extrapolate that to Muslims as a whole or Islam as an ideology without any sort of context for regions or geopolitics.
Well, I mean,
so, like, you're going to get that many left wingers who are going to be saying, like, "Oh yeah, Saudi Arabia is fantastic."
Yeah. I mean, there are probably like a handful, but
I'm sure there are some that are just so like can't criticize Muslims ever that they're going to be like, "Yeah, Saudi Arabia, best country."
The problem with Islam, like a lot of people talk about, like, oh, Islam can't be reformed globally and all that because it's too conservative, and it does have like a lot of shit in its holy scriptures that make it like a theocratic imperialist ideology that, I mean, there's a lot of fucked up shit in the Bible, but there is no create a theocratic empire that works with these specific rules in the Bible.
No, people just did it anyways.
Yeah, they just did it.
You didn't really take any ideology or religion to extrapolate it out to be more extremist and conquering. Islam just does that easier because of what the text says.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is it's not like many people say, oh, it's just inherent in Islam that it will develop this way, but I don't actually believe that. I'm very much with...
There's plenty of moderate Muslims.
Oh yeah, but they mostly live in the West.
Especially in like the United States, Muslims on average are way more like liberal and accepting of like homosexuality, for example, or LGBT rights than even like evangelical Christians are.
The problem with Islam in the Islamic world is genuinely, right, it's America. And also Saudi Arabia, because the thing about Saudi Arabia is the House of Saud used to be just some like camel fuckers that lived in the middle of the desert. And then
I think
a rogue Islamic scholar who was being persecuted in other parts of the Islamic world made an alliance with the head of the House of Saud, and he was the founder of Wahhabism. And so basically, with his help and religious following, the House of Saud managed to conquer all of Saudi Arabia, like all of Arabia, and made it Saudi Arabia, and gave the religious cities like Medina and Mecca to the Wahhabis. And the two, like the House of Saud and the Wahhabi scholars of Islam, legitimize each other. So without the legitimacy of the Wahhabi scholars, the House of Saud couldn't really hold on to power, and without the protection of the House of Saud, the Wahhabis couldn't hold on to power. And then you got from when Nasser introduced more elements of secularism in Egypt, which is like, as always, historically been the cultural epicenter of the Islamic world. He didn't expel the Salafists like on paper, but like a lot of them they fucked off to Medina. But like Salafi and Wahhabi Islam are very alike. And like all of the terrorist organizations, they're like the big common ones. They are like ISIS, for instance, Al Qaeda and all that. They are Wahhabi Sunni Muslims.
Yeah.
And the United States supports them because the United States supports Saudi Arabia for oil.
It's a very circular thing where there's crisscrossing allegiances and alliances. I mean, Saudi Arabia isn't a fan of ISIS. ISIS takes it that one step farther. Just because they're the same ideology doesn't mean they're going to be best friends. They indirectly had supported them because they supported previous factions that they were in,
and they support the interpretation.
Okay, too much.
They support the intelligentsia that furthers the interpretation of Islam that ISIS adheres to. I mean, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is he dead actually? I think he died. Is like a Wahhabist scholar. And the one of the best things is that this whole fucking thing, like the West stabbed Nasser in the back. One reason for that was because he got cozy with the Soviets.
Yup.
Which is also why the CIA armed Al Qaeda. So it's so the United people like to talk about, oh, it's not really, it's Islam and not just the terror campaigns that the United States does on the Islamic world, but also no, it's geopolitically the United States does play a significant role in the creation of these terrorist organizations and the furthering of the ultra-conservative culture throughout the Islamic world, because Saudi Arabia obviously has massive power over the entirety of the Islamic world, being, rich as fuck. Which is, why it's such a good idea to get Muslims into the West, because that is how we can... It's one of the best ways to sort of liberalize the Islamic world. Because those people then get into contact with the Islamic world and spread the European memes of, like, being liberals over there. So, yeah.
Yeah. It really just boils down to the fact that terrorism and the history of the Middle East, like most things, is complicated.
It is so fucking complicated.
And if you try and boil it down to just U.S. involvement or just ideology or just simple like power grabbing in the Middle East, it's false. You have to take it all in and sort through it and go through a massive time.
It is
on the subject of U.S. involvement, though. Have you ever seen like images of Iran before the United States took over their government? It's really weird because it's Iran, but people are just like walking around in. Oh,
you mean
Western
before
clothing.
the Ayatollah took over?
Yeah,
No, that was actually while the West was supporting their government, and the Shah and all that. But it was also not. Let's say it wasn't quite kosher.
Well, no. So before the Shah, there was an elected government, and the United States did a coup to overthrow that government.
Yes.
And then the Shah was...
Oh, you're going way back. Okay.
Yeah. Like, this is, like, a long time ago. Yeah. Under the Shah, though, it was still...
Very liberal. I mean
that was an oppressive dictatorship also.
Yeah, but, like, comparatively to what came after, like, there weren't women in headscarves going around. They looked like Western women.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure there were some who, like, were traditional.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
It wasn't a you wear this or you get your head chopped off kind of place.
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, and now it's also sort of stopping. It's also one of the places where Islam is liberalizing the fastest, because obviously it is a Shia, which is also one of the main reasons why the United States doesn't like Iran is because Saudi Arabia doesn't like Iran, and Saudi Arabia doesn't like Iran because Saudi Arabia is Sunni Wahhabi, and Iran is literally the head of state of Iran is also basically the Pope of the Shia Muslims. Yeah. So it's all connected.
I can't quite recall what the difference was. I know it had something to do with there is certain hadiths that are different, and I think there's like a prophet that exists in Shia Islam that's not the same thing as
no,
Sunni
they don't
Islam.
have any
like
more prophets.
Muhammad's cousin or something like that.
It's I think one of them says no. It's a dispute about who should have been caliph after Muhammad.
Oh, okay.
That's, I think, what sparked that, but I might be wrong about that. No, it's a it's a core tenet of Islam that there will never be another prophet.
Sure. Yeah, not a prophet was a poor choice of words.
Yeah,
Another speaker who leads a religious organization and talks to God or whatever.
Yeah, basically. Which is like caliph is people tend to like say it's like a ruler, but he is a ruler. He is both he's both the pope and the emperor in equal parts. Which is something that many Westerners don't really understand about Islam, because like a lot of people think, oh, it's all cool and it's all basically it's like Christianity. It's like, no, it's not. Like in Christian doctrine, there has also historically been a certain separation between the worldly and the spiritual. Like there was the Pope and there was the Emperor, and they were separate people. And the Emperor was legitimized by the Pope, and the Church had massive de facto power, and often also direct administrative power. But there was a certain difference between the actual government and the Church, even though the Church, obviously, even though the actual government...
Even today, Vatican City has a king. Like, they have a king, and they also have the Pope, who is in charge. So all the governance actually goes to the king of Vatican City, whereas the operations of the Catholic Church go for the Pope.
And
no one lives in Vatican City except for like the clergy that live there. So no one cares about the king of Vatican City.
And the several 100,000 little boys that they fucked, but those are not registered.
Those are imported. They aren't citizens.
But that kind of even vague distinction does not exist in Islam. Like, at all.
No, yeah.
And that's something that I think many Westerners just don't understand. And ironically, by trying to be tolerant and understanding of this foreign culture, they project the parameters of their own historicity onto them, which is ironic. Yeah. Nuclear energy just inherently isn't profitable. Okay, please explain that to me, my man, because that is factually untrue.
Isn't France's like not 70% of their like power grid off nuclear?
Yeah, and they sell like shit.
That doesn't make any sense. Why nuclear wouldn't be a viable or profitable option?
It is 100. It is super profitable.
It's such a huge power output for like it's expensive for setup.
Yeah,
and obviously you need trained personnel to maintenance it.
It's very expensive, but it just produces so much energy.
Especially with thorium reactors nowadays. Like obviously, like uranium and plutonium have a issue.
Which is why we should switch to thorium reactors, because
thorium reactors.
Like the environmental impact of like uranium and plutonium is fucking enormous. It's not as bad as like coal, but it's pretty fucking bad.
Thorium reactors are probably going to be the next best. This next best thing next to like fusion reaction. If we can make a sustainable fusion reaction that doesn't, absorb as much power as it does to produce. Because fusion is a thing we can do right now. It's just like
they made an efficient
power, and then we got out this much.
In Greifswald, which is like relatively near where I live, they made an efficient fusion reactor. It's just not very efficient.
It's like you get a couple joules extra.
Yeah, it's like it's barely noticeable, but they did get more energy out of it than they put in.
It's a good step.
Yeah, it's a massive step. It's like I hate it when people say, "Oh, fusion is the energy source of the future and always will be." Which is like, imagine being in like the late 19th century and going, "Oh, flight is the transportation method of the future and always will be," just because for hundreds of years people have been trying to build flying machines. And now what do?
We fly most places.
We have fucking cocktail bars on planes.
Yup. Fusion really makes sense as the fact that it is going to be the power of the future, because I don't think anything else could be more efficient than that, simply because that's how the universe generates power.
It's basically
Like,
you have massive amounts of power. It is completely clean. It's almost no potential for like any kind of accidents. It doesn't produce any significant amount of radiation. It is like it has no environmental impact aside from like the size of the plant that you build. Like most forms of green energy, like wind turbines and water power and even solar power, have more of an environmental impact than fusion
absolutely.
would.
Absolutely. I think it takes what, seawater, because seawater has parts of, I think, deuterium, which is what you need for fusion reactions.
I mean, it depends what kind of fusion reactions, but yeah. Deuterium tritium reactors also like heavy hydrogen isotopes. You can also do it with helium-3, but because we have a magnetosphere on Earth, we don't have any of that. Which is
Fusing helium actually sounds like it would be a lot of.
well,
It'd
it's
be very difficult.
helium-3. It's not just helium. It's helium-3.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of it like on the moon, which is a great.
Right.
It's always the premise when you have like a science fiction novel where people go to the moon. It's because it's to mine helium-3. But it's not like I don't actually know if it's the better way of building nuclear fusion reactors. I have heard some physicists who've told me that that is the case, and other physicists who've told me that it isn't. Does the term bread tube mean anything to you? Yeah, I've heard of it. There's apparently a lot of people who enjoy. I have had a few people who told me I enjoy BreadTube and also you, and that's basically all the politics I can stand on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, but aren't they like super left wing? Like, don't they have unironic anti-capitalists in there? But yeah, and some people also count me into BreadTube, which I'm not.
What is BreadTube? Is it like the commie part of YouTube or something like that?
I think it is, but like they're not necessarily like the insane commie part of YouTube.
They're not tankies. They're like legit socialists.
It's I think ContraPoints and Philosophy Tube are in it. I think that Knowing Better is counted among BreadTube, even though he does not often do politics, and like his moderate guides to stuff is like really good. I actually do enjoy his political content most of the time. And some people count Quinton Reviews to BreadTube because he's sort of had his great political awakening, and yeah, he hates Chris Reagan now.
I don't understand why people hate Chris Reagan.
He's literally the best person there is.
He's such like a neutral figure in terms of like, yeah, he makes like anti-SJW stuff like back in the day, but really his entire shtick is really just like, look at this obviously ridiculous thing. Isn't that ridiculous? Here's a funny editing trick.
And like the thing is, like,
let me throw milk at my roommate.
Anti-SJW stuff does and did have its place, really, because they were going into a direction that was problematic. And now they're just a joke to everyone at this point. And there's new problems and new enemies. Which is why, like, the atheist community, the anti-SJW community on YouTube has fallen apart. And some of them went, like, super far right, much like parts of the atheist community split into, like, the SJW community and the anti-SJW community. They're now, like, far right and far left communities coming out of the anti-SJW genre. I had a different name for it. There wasn't genre or community. Sphere? No. Fuck. I forgot what the word was that I used.
Topic of conversation. I don't know, dude.
Yeah. Basically the skeptics.
Yeah, I definitely understand. Like, I kind of... Anti-SJW stuff at this point has become kind of overplayed.
It's kind of cringe at this point, yeah.
It is. And in the sense where you take it super seriously, you like deconstruct the arguments someone's making that's like, white people are bad.
It's the same.
And then you start like quoting Descartes or some shit.
Yeah, it's the same with like I remember when doing arguments against religion was all the rage because basically the United States was controlled by religious conservatives.
Yup.
And those arguments were actually things that people hadn't heard before. But now basically everybody knows. And it's the same with like anti-SJW stuff. And we have adopted because the thing is, I've always hated the anti-SJW crowd that was like legitimately coming at it from a right-wing perspective, and there were quite a few of them, and now a lot of them have been showing their true colors.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we just shouldn't all the pronouns and freedom of speech and all that because I actually hate the gays. It's like, yeah, no, fuck you. That's not.
Hey guys, isn't identity politics so shit? Now let's talk about race realism for a minute.
Yeah, exactly that kind of shit. Like fucking Jean-François Gariepi and all that.
Oh my god, that was the biggest fucking heel turn I've ever seen in my life.
Lick the legs.
He was so calm and measured on Drunken Peasants.
Yeah, he seemed like
Barely
a real guy.
Things. He seemed like an intelligent person, and one day he just went like entirely Nazi for no reason.
By the way, lick the legs and white supremacy. I fucking love the story where he just a court ordered him to no longer be with this retarded girlfriend. Like he's mentally retarded. Oh, that's one of the strangest.
I feel like that I've only ever heard his side of that story, but I'm sure there's lots of context missing from that.
It's like that guy is a fucking joke. Yeah. But you know, the alt-right exists. Oh, this is actually a very good mix. The alt-right exists. The alt-right is around. I don't get people who want to censor them because you're just doing their bidding because you give them a massive platform to spout their bullshit from.
I wouldn't give them special platforms, right?
I mean,
I would say,
them.
Yeah, of course. Like, if you're making YouTube videos or something like that, you can be like, hey, that's dumb. But if, like, I could understand the sense of, I don't say you should take away someone's platform, but if, say, I was on a college board, right, and I was looking out, and I'm like, okay, we need a speaker for next week. What do we do? Should I get Jean-François Gariepi? Probably not.
No, you should, because it is about the intellectual endeavor of being confronted with new viewpoints, and it is about the intellectual endeavor of being confronted with wrong viewpoints. Because I
agree that you need to confront viewpoints that are counter to you, but at a certain point, it becomes so far outside the Overton window that not necessarily allowing someone to speak, but specifically going out of your way to provide a higher platform than others can debate them on, kind of raises that ideology.
The thing is that the only way to actually inoculate people against these kinds of ideas is to expose them to the counter-arguments. And to understand the counter-arguments to these ideas, you need to understand the initial arguments. This is why in Germany we actually teach, like if you have a good history teacher in most states, we teach Nazi ideology so we can debunk it in class.
Right. I would be fine with, say, like a debate format of it.
Oh,
but
yeah,
providing
definitely.
someone, providing like if you had JF, right, and you provided him like a platform where he would talk on a college campus. Not necessarily, I wouldn't agree with taking away his platform, but providing him one to start with that is higher than others. Whenever you're a speaker on a campus, you have a position of authority and you have control over a room. That's not the same thing as being in a debate and arguing ideas.
This is why I enjoy political talk shows. Like, Germany has a very good political talk show scene. And the right-wing parties don't get invited. Like, the AfD, for instance, doesn't get invited often enough. Because they just get to preach to their echo chamber, because the establishment parties are afraid that some points that the AfD makes make sense. But the thing is, because the AfD get to be the only ones who make those few points where they make sense on, and many people care about those points, that's the main political capital of the AfD. if other parties adopted those actually rational viewpoints, the AFD wouldn't be a problem anymore. But my political position is mostly similar to Jim Sterling. Jim Sterling, I have said this before and I will say it again. Jim Sterling is my favorite Gamergator.
I'm blanking on who Jim Sterling is. I need a second.
He was I think he was one of the fiercest anti-Gamergate people at the time.
I came in at like sort of the tail end of Gamergate whenever that was going on, like around like 2015 ish.
I don't even remember.
So, I remember Jim Sterling. All right then.
He's my favorite.
I saw his face. I'm like, okay, now I remember. I don't watch his videos, but I've seen him around.
I actually do enjoy his videos, most about the games industry. Sometimes he'll have like weird political shit, but basically, what his videos about the games industry boils down to: the games industry is shit. It's controlled by profits, and the fucking games media is also shit, and is basically just does not have any ethics and is doing the bidding of the video games industry, and they have no journalistic standards. And it's basically the exact same thing that Gamergate was saying all along.
What a fucking sexist dude.
That is why Jim Sterling is my favorite Gamergate.
Yeah. Honestly, Gamergate in the topic of like conversations and spheres that sort of teetered on and kept going, and then it kind of died and became kind of cringe. Gamergate was kind of like that too, where the message was out there what was it? There was the journalistic ethics convention talk thing.
Yeah, and they
passed that. I think that was the point where it's like, okay, this is now done. Let's move on. And then there were still people kind of like, yeah, but SJWs in the games media, things like that.
The problems in the games media have not been solved.
No, but that was about
it's still shit. But that's why it's dying.
You can only go so far in a hashtag movement, and that's about as far as you can go. And you kind of got the point out there.
And that's sort of Gamergate sort of jump started.
At that point, yeah, go ahead.
It sort of jump started the anti-SJW movement.
Oh, absolutely. It's really weird whenever like I see my parents like saying shit about like SJWs and things like that I heard like in 2014 or 2015.
There's goddamn SJWs.
Them darn millennials.
And now it's at the point where where I used to go, when someone was going, but we need to respect gay rights, I used to roll my eyes and go, yeah, well, we do, obviously. That's a no-brainer, respect gay rights. But now I am once again, now that I've seen the anti-SJW community sort of break apart, and many of it fall into like more right-wing camps that I'm not very appreciative of, I'm once again very happy about those kinds of things, because you do have political establishment figures, especially in the United States, that are quite obviously against LGBTQ plus people, Mike Daddy Electric Pence.
Oof.
And shit. So yeah, it's definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's the focus for that kind of stuff should be on helping those people in other parts of the world where they're actually oppressed. Because just not being against gay people should be a no-brainer. That shouldn't be something that you put on your political stuff.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't get past that step.
Yeah, that's the benchmark to be like a corporate Democrat. It's I do terrible things for all the workers, and I'm basically a bitch of the corporations. But I became pro-marriage when it was politically expedient to do so. So I don't hate women and minorities. So I am left-wing.
Basically you just go down a checklist of every things like deregulation. Yep, I want that. Cutting taxes for the rich. Yep, I want that. Huge increases to the military budget. Yep, I want that. Treating gay people bad. I'm gonna say no. Oh, I guess you're a Democrat.
That's like fucking Joe Biden, who campaigned against fucking the abolition of segregation laws. and that motherfucker,
I was like, no fucking way.
And that motherfucker has been declared the front runner.
He's losing. Did you hear about the latest strategy that his campaign is doing?
I have not.
So, Secular Talk covered this. Apparently, the strategy of Biden's campaign is he's not going to campaign.
What?
He's going to just do small venues and like low exposure because he wants to try and coast off his name recognition. Because as time has gone on, and people have gotten to know him a bit more as an actual candidate and not just an extension of Obama, they've started not to like him. So the polls went down.
Yeah, he's pretty shit. Like he's not very good.
Yeah, he's approaching, if not exceeding, Hillary levels.
It was like the thing about all the polls, like Bernie is like still the de facto front runner because they're like of course the established media put Biden first because they way oversample older voters because they're in the pocket of like the fucking big corporations. Bernie is still the front runner. The thing about Bernie is he is super healthy and all that for a person his age. Like he runs and he plays basketball like Michael fucking Jordan. But I am actually concerned that he might be a bit old. I think I'd like maybe Tulsi as actual president and him to have like a high-ranking cabinet position, like Minister of the Secretary of the Interior. I think it's with you people.
Yeah, I don't know because Bernie still seems lively. Like I think that he could still pull out a presidency. Tulsi would be fine. Yang would be. Except he's okay.
Yeah, I haven't also delved too much. Position.
I haven't delved too much into his other politics, outside of his UBI.
He's pretty decent. He's not going to win, but it's very like
no, absolutely not.
He's very important as a candidate because he
I don't know. People just don't know him at all, so it could.
No,
just be
I think he's going to
crushes it in the debate.
I hear he's going to get on the debate stage. The thing that Yang is very important for is to get ideas like UBI into the public mainstream discussion, and not to be.
I think Yang is going to fill the same sort of role that Bernie did last election cycle, where him being there brings the conversation to these ideas.
Yes, exactly.
Which I'm all for. I don't think he'll get it. I think UBI as a concept, I'm not necessarily against it or for it. I'm kind of split on the issue. I think I'm tentatively for it. But I think that the American people are probably going to reject it because they won't understand how it works.
Yeah,
it conceptually doesn't make sense to a person to say that you're going to be given just money.
I think there's a certain, I see this with people who come to Germany from other countries, where they'll just exploit the government system and just basically steal benefits and shit that they're not entitled to and won't feel bad about it. Because in their home country, that's a normal thing to do on account of the government is against you in those countries. It's a corrupt shithole, and if you can fuck over the government, that's good, because otherwise the government's going to fuck you over. Which here, that doesn't happen.
It is a very pervasive mentality.
And that is, I think, a mentality that the US has to not to that extreme extent, but to a certain extent. And I think that sort of trust in institutions and trust in what the government does with the tax money needs to be rebuilt. And that's not going to happen by the government giving huge tax breaks to Amazon.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, anyways, I gotta go because I got a date in a little bit.
Yeah, so, have fun, my man.
Neo just came in luckily, so tag here at Neo.
I'll keep you company.
He's been hot micing, but not saying anything.
I think he just has like constant broadcast.
Yeah.
Anyways, see you guys later.
See you, man.
So, what did I miss?
Not much. This is basically the stream where I was terrified of all the patrons coming in, all the new ones. And literally, I started out alone, and then Cody came, and we talked about, like, serious topics a bunch. It's probably the serious Fast Food Thursday in a while, this one called Argon of Gaskkad.
It's a pretty good one.
I have some other pretty good ones. I'm going to try and read some of them. I have Ethereal Snake, as in Solid Snake.
Yeah.
Chapo's Dad's House. Small Time Clockmaker. Straight Up Gay, The
I
Big
like that one.
Straight, Medium Drugs, Metrosexual Chungus Impersonator.
Are you just making fun of me with that one? I feel like that's awfully targeted.
Shoko Haram, as in chocolate.
Yeah.
Gay Sex is for Gays. Cock
Instant
Cane.
demonetization.
The Average Gatsby. Apartheid Was Bad. Gay Club Penguin. It's like Club Penguin, but gay.
Now, just to be clear on that one, are you saying that was the entire title?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure.
Horsoscope, The Gaily Bugle, Swiss Golden exclamation point Swiss, the Fuggenheim Museum, Jihad, as in yeehaw and jihad,
Yeah.
and Electromagnetic Night Shyamalan.
I'm very much excited to see these be the titles of future fast food Thursdays.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm
lie.
taking a shit, they occur to me.
I feel like some of the best things you ever think of end up happening in the bathroom.
Oh, definitely.
You
That's
taking a
why
shower.
I have a slave in my cabinet in the bathroom so that he writes things down.
Huh. I never thought of using mine for that purpose.
Yeah, it's very good. It's the secondary one. It's the he's not I mean he is black obviously, but he's also a dwarf, so he actually fits somewhat comfortably because I don't want to mistreat my slaves.
Of course, that's you don't want them getting uppity.
Yeah. Fuck. Fellow YouTuber that I recommend everyone watch named Zeno just sent me a message on Discord, but I can't open it because I'm live streaming my Discord. Wholesome
I'll read it for
hentai.
you.
Wholesome hentai is actually very good. I'm gonna write that one down and steal it.
Yeah, wholesome hentai.
It's like I'm trying to go for like a Cumtown vibe with my episode titles. Actually, my current Discord username, Michael Jordan Peterson, was I think a Cumtown episode at one point. I also have some Cumtown characters: alt-right Bilbo Baggins, Korean Jordan Peterson, and morbidly obese Mark Wahlberg.
That fucking generator is so good.
I actually came up with these though. I didn't. There wasn't
you
the
did?
generator that came up with these. I'm gonna have to
That's impressive.
mail them to Starve or something.
Yeah. Say, hey, I don't want to step on any toes, but I got a couple good ones for you.
Yeah.
Their most recent one is just Big Dick Nick.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the Cumtown Discord for a second now. No, the newest one is Forget It, Jake. It's Vagina Town. That's the one that came out today. It's 7/6, and the last premium one was Summer of Jamel. So yeah, it's if you want an underrated podcast that I recommend to everyone is Cumtown. Probably one of the top 5 podcasts in the world right now.
Oh, man.
No, like genuinely,
Vagina
they all make 6 figures from Patreon alone. It's insane how much money these guys happen to make from talking about like gay actor Michael Douglas twice a week.
Man, we need a Michael Cera podcast where it's just people talking about the marvelous wonders that is Michael Cera.
I actually really like Michael Cera as an actor and also person who does films.
I like the guy, and the memes are just fucking weird, but in a great way. I don't remember where there was a YouTube channel that at one point uploaded a series of videos where the thumbnails, if you looked on their channel, it made Michael Cera's face. I gotta find it again, but just people do a lot of weird shit, especially with Michael Cera, and that's what I like about it.
Michael Cera is super memeable.
It's I think it was the picture he was at like a coffee shop or something. He had on a hat and the slight mustache. It's kind of iconic for him.
The fucking rape mustache that he looks like a rapist, but he also pulls it off, like, at the same time.
I know. I need to learn how this man does it because I just look terrible with facial hair. I need to learn.
It's like fucking the other guy whom I always wish to call Seth Rogen, but who isn't Seth Rogen. Who was also in Superbad.
I found it.
The fat one.
Here we go. Pictures of Michael Cera.
Well, I can't. You have to screenshot it because I can't open it for the thing.
All right, hold on. I can do this.
Actually, Seth Rogen being a huge drugs person, the German word for drugs is Drogen. So in Germany, he's just called Seth Drogen.
I feel like somebody named him that way on purpose.
Yeah.
That's way too convenient. Let's see, scrolling window. This usually doesn't work. Maybe I'll get lucky.
What was
that? Here we go.
Also, different story time. I played Shadowrun yesterday at uni, and and not only did I survive a nuclear blast, I also got a submarine.
Here you go. It's called Pictures of Michael Cera.
This is actually really good.
I love it. I found that a couple years ago. I don't remember what I was doing, but somebody linked it to me, and it's the funniest shit I'd ever seen someone do on YouTube. They're all 2-second videos, and it's just, I'm pretty sure there's no audio. No, there's no audio. It's just that part of the image.
I love how, like, most art these days, I feel like, is just outsider art, because there's only outsider art anymore. And insider art is becoming the outsider art because no one takes it seriously anymore.
Yeah.
And that is something I so love about the internet. Because people do dumb shit like this because you can do great things with very little effort.
Mm-hmm. I would know. My entire career is based on putting the least amount of effort in.
Jonah Hill, yes, that was the guy.
Oh, yeah.
He just wears shitty thrift shop clothes and trash, and he still looks good in it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really missing out on fashion trends because I try to dress nicely, and everybody else is succeeding far more with far less as far as style.
What you have to do is, the first thing you have to figure out is which colors suit you. There's like guides on the internet how to do that. Colors that suit me, for instance, generally tend to be dark. Of course, black suits everyone. But dark red, like for instance this beautiful shirt right here, dark red suits me. Dark green and dark blue are like the ones that are best for me. Also, sometimes when I can combine bright red, when I combine it with darker red items. So I'll put on a dark red t-shirt, bright red t-shirt with a dark red shirt, dress shirt. Actual Shadowrun 5, yes. And what do you mean OL Abomination? It worked perfectly fine. Now I played actual Shadowrun 5. Our GM is very rules light. We basically went after the side quest instead of taking the main quest of Shadowrunners being assassinated in Hamburg. And went out with a trawler to basically plunder a Proteus AG arcology that was abandoned. And it was full of like crustacean insect spirits. And we had our bloke sort of... we had some guy and we were loading like big ship-to-ship laser cannons and engineering equipment, old combat drones onto the trawler that we had. And then our tech guy went up to the highest level of the arcology and tried to get data from the shut down mainframe. And when he started up the science host, it sort of it detected that there was a contamination of like crustacean insect spirits, which actually weren't that interested in us at all, as long as we didn't enter their territory in the arcology. And he detected the infestation, he detected unauthorized access, and he ordered a nuke to be sent down from like a satellite. And at that point, we had 1 minute to get from various points in the arcology to the lowest point of the arcology, which was a submarine hangar 80 meters below sea level. Luckily, my character is actually like I have a lot of points like like naval command, diving, ships and stuff, so I could actually drive the submarine out of there properly. And it fought against like a mutated orca crustacean insect spirit monstrosity with a sonar cannon. Yeah, basically, I have a submarine now. I did lose my motorbike, but I did survive a nuke, and I have a fucking submarine now.
That's pretty fucking dope, man.
That is pretty fucking dope, yeah. How are you streaming Discord? I just use OBS Studio, Streamlabs OBS window capture of Discord.
And you got to do what I do. Me and a couple of the fellas over on the memory hole started doing movie nights.
Oof.
So what I did is I got OBS on my computer, which then streams VLC media player to a server that I'm operating. It's a Linux. It's up on Amazon, which is then streaming to multiple browsers at the same time. So
you basically built your own rabbit.
I did, with blackjack and hookers. So try that out, instead of taking the easy route, just using
instead of
simple
doing
technology.
something that is convenient, makes sense to do, and which people know about. Just learn programming and get a server.
That's right. That's what you got to do. You got to over-engineer it, because that is that's how programmers do. I still strongly hold the belief that the majority of progress that has happened as far as like technology is just developers inventing problems to solve, and then it just happens to benefit a bunch of people at the same time.
No, it's lazy people trying to be more lazy and more doing things in a way that's more convenient. Convenient really is the death of like everything. And I'm going to make a video about this at some point, but it occurred to me today that we would people used to be horrified of surveillance and shit, but now they look forward to it because it's convenient. Literally the only thing you had to do, you didn't have to implant people with mind control devices, you didn't have to put people into gulags, you don't have to fucking do like brainwashing campaigns that are widespread. You just have to make the thing convenient, and then people will just go, yep, I accept this completely. What is going on?
I don't know. I just repost what people ping me with and shit posting.
What is happening? We need to fuck a gay cat. Actually, if I had to choose one of those, I don't even know what they're called. The ones that end in Chan, I would probably do Earth Chan. Because she has a NASA shirt and I'm into smart girls. That's mainly the thing.
That's awfully presumptuous. Maybe she's just like, like people who wear band t-shirts and don't even listen to the band.
Yeah, but I feel like I do sort of look down on people who wear NASA shirts, ironically. But I also think, at least is the right sentiment. Like, if you're gonna go around and wear like a NASA shirt or an Acer shirt or any space agency shirt, at least you're pretending to like a good band, and I'm happy with that. Because we should worship NASA and celebrate them.
I guess that's a positive outlook on that. I usually just think, They found a T-shirt of something to seem smart, because that's what I used to do.
Yeah, but Neo, you're actually smart, so I don't think that counts.
I am not a rocket surgeon.
Me neither. Oh, it's so I love when people come up to me and tell me, "Oh, dude, you're so smart." I'm like, you don't even, you couldn't even begin to comprehend how stupid I actually am. Like, you have no conception. Your tiny little human brain cannot fathom the sheer extent of my stupidity.
Oh, I'm getting mixed signals here, man. Are you number one or not number one? What's the fucking deal?
It's like, I get terrified when I meet people who actually think they're smart. I'm like, okay, I have a bit of intelligence, but mostly I am stupid and I don't know most things. And I will never know most things. But then there's people who go around life and go, yeah, I have got it figured out. I'm pretty sure I know most things. I had linear algebra in high school.
You might say I'm kind of a big deal. That's something that bothered me for a while. Is I realized that I could go my entire life and still basically know nothing, no matter how hard I try.
It's so fucking frustrating.
Like, just the absolute scale of everything that there is to know, even scratching the surface is an insurmountable task.
Though on one hand, it's frustrating that you'll never know everything, but also I am addicted to learning new things, and I will, if I live 1,000 years, I will not run out of new things to learn.
Yeah. You know, I think the same way. Like, that's why I was homeschooled so often. You can thank Brady Rosetta for that one.
Thank you for that. Brady Rosetta should be able to post in this chat.
I don't know. I get a ping from shit posting.
Brady Rosetta literally is in this room, in the studio, and should be able to post here.
Yeah, fucking, there it is in the sidebar. Hello. Why aren't you posting shit in here? I will never understand.
So yeah, I have this blue Fanta. Yeah.
I didn't know you were a black man.
No, it's Eastern European actually. It's I think Polish. It's with whatever Holunder Blüte is. It's really extremely tasty. I was literally like, one day I was talking about it with a guy on a party who told me how impossible it is to get. The next day I walk into the supermarket, they have that shit stocked. I'm like, fuck yeah, motherfucker! My internet is approaching the data cap, so I'd better leave. Yeah, dude, fuck off. What are you doing? Don't waste your data cap with Fast Food Thursday, you absolute masochist.
Yeah, like, that's probably the least interesting thing you could dedicate resources to.
Yeah, literally this is just for people who give me money, and it's so boring that they don't even show up.
I was considering not even showing up because, for one thing, I'm very late. But, yeah, it's very fun, but it's low effort, and I think that's why it's nice. But yeah, don't dedicate resources to it. That's asinine.
Ooh, asinine. That's a word I'd like to use more. Asinine. That's a beautiful word.
I am a fan, but I can't even recall the last time that I've said it. I don't know. It's something that doesn't show up much in the vernacular, but when it does, it's like, mwah! It's like a spicy meatball.
It's like when I read books or like hear words, that where there's like a nice word, I get the same reaction as when I see like a really nice ass or a good pair of tits. Like it's the same facial expression and emotional reaction. It's like, yeah, goddamn, I'm gonna write that down. I'd tap that into my keyboard while writing a short story.
Burger confirmed. Super smart. Wojak.
Oh, also one of my other Fast Food Thursday titles is oh fuck, something's happening. Is just the fucking Apustaya memes.
I'm not familiar.
They're Finnish memes, and it's basically it works better if I just copy paste it into Discord. And also that meme isn't loading. It's basically this.
Oh yeah, no, I know those. I've got some really good ones somewhere. Although I gave them a different name because I didn't know what they were called.
I'm pretty sure they're called Apu Apustaya. Oh no, they're called Spurdo Sparde.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Spurdo memes. Hi
Yeah,
guys,
I've
is
got a
Spurdo
couple of
Sparde
those.
taime kaksoispiste de.
Yeah, here we go.
Hello.
I've got a couple of them.
Vere arete burger. Kaksoispiste de. Oh shit de. American Dorest Quick Pekka Fetch the Motorized Kart Kaksoispiste de. I know that one by memory because I love these
Jesus
so
Christ.
much. I might be able to find one of my recent favorites in the Spurdo meme universe. It's in my favorites on a German image board that shall remain nameless. Yeah. Karl Sagan. This is one of my fucking favorites. Fucking, it's like the whole world puts so much efforts in their memes, and then there's just Finland with this shit.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Goldens fug. Oh.
I need to get more of these because they're fucking awesome.
The memes are the fucking best, man. I love how this conversation has turned from the dangers of Islamic theocratic imperialism. Looky look, Daldon's fug. In the span of 45 minutes.
I don't know why you would expect anything else. This is what happens when people give you money and you encourage them.
Jesus fuck.
Oh, let's see. Breda Rosetta said, permissions prevent me. I can see it, not post.
Oh, that's pretty gay. Whoever set that up should be banned from the server. Gulag, it could be a Spurdo word. Oh shit, Gulag fug. Kaksoispiste de.
I think I was too young to remember exactly when that started becoming really popular, but I remember when I started getting into it, and it was just, I didn't understand it at first. I thought it was retarded, and then I look back, and the ones that I thought were retarded are my favorite ones now, because they are actually retarded.
Actually, my boss at the strawberry stand, I don't think she's technically my boss. She's just a supervisor. She came by today to sort of check on me, and we ended up talking for like half an hour, just chatting. It's like she's from Finland, also, like these memes, and it's like, and we just ended up chatting for like forever because now basically what I get to do is I don't need the job anymore for money, but I like it because I like writing in YouTube is a very solitary profession, and I get to interact with customers. And I know that if at any point somebody gives me shit, I can give them shit back. And if then my bosses come and say, "Hey, you bad guy, that you should kowtow to the customers," I can say, "Fuck no," because I basically have fuck you money relative to like minimum wage jobs like that one.
It feels good, don't it?
Yeah.
No, that's one thing that I really like about the job I've got now. I made it clear to my boss ahead of time that I say terrible things on the internet, and he's a very nice guy, and so now I actually just send memes to everyone all day while I'm working. They're more tame than what I would normally post, but it's the
You're not
thought that
posting
counts.
the 9/11 memes.
Oh yeah, no, I generally keep it to you know the normie memes, as they would say, but it's still it's nice being able to have a little fun.
Having a
I don't
strong normie meme game improves your regular meme game also.
Yeah, I'd say that's the case. I definitely need to work on it a bit because whenever I see, you know how oftentimes you'll see a meme and then underneath it is like a white bar with black text because some motherfucker decided to put his opinion on it. I don't like that at all. But
I love those,
yeah.
but ironically.
Yeah, no, like I love the ones where it's like Lamau, I'm dying, and then 10 emojis.
No, I like the
Shit like that
conservative
makes me
ones.
laugh.
Snowflake. No, it's like you get a lot of girls on Tinder who go, "Ooh, send me memes," and then you send them like fucking surreal memes where the fucking loose flying head is drinking the bepis out of the skull of the man that is hanging on his ceiling, and they just don't get it. And I'm like, get on my level, bitch, with the meme game, motherfucker! Just always makes me feel good, just making weird people the fuck out who initially were attracted to me by being unnecessarily obtuse in my shibboleths.
Makes sense. Oh man. Oh shit. Here we go. Here's one that's a little older. I was talking to a bunch of people about Stone Toss. A couple of them were sent around. I'm a fan of this one in particular. If it'll send. There we go. And then here's another repost from Shitpost.
It's not done yet.
On this day in
Boobs,
1989,
ass,
nothing
feet.
of significance happened.
Ass, and now she steps on them? Why does she step on them?
Size.
Oh, oh, that's also a thing. Like guys who are into like really big women. Oh, I love these fictional anime pictures from China.
What are you talking about? Nothing of significance happened.
Yeah. Okay, this is pretty good. I'm not sure that qualifies as porn though, maybe.
Sorry, people
Jesus.
keep sending me shit.
Yeah, no, it's meme time. Knuckles cracked. It's gamer time.
Yeah. Knuckles cracked, headset on, missiles aimed at the illegitimate state of Israel. Yep, it's gamer time. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Got a good Spurto meme coming in from shit.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. I'm gonna die. fucking. Oh.
I'm fairly certain this is loosely based on a fucking green text.
It's
'Cause I
probably
remember,
a Finnish war green text.
because I remember there was this one that I have saved somewhere. I'm too lazy to look for it, where it was a group of Finnish soldiers, and they were talking about how I think they got stranded, and one guy basically took a bunch of meth, which I'm fairly certain is what that is in the meme. And then he disappeared for like 3 days. He just ran off into the fucking wilderness and came back 3 days later. Um, and apparently, like, he had been all up and down the fucking wherever they were stationed at. And there were witness reports of him running around and making retarded noises. I gotta find it. It's the funniest shit I've
I
ever
think
heard.
I've seen it somewhere. But the thing about fucking Finland is that it's such a camp country. It's like they don't even talk to each other. They stand like 5 meters away from each other at the bus stop. The language just sounds like it was invented by gay guys pretending to be straight. But they will forever have the badass badge of honor because no other nation managed to defeat the Red Army on its border on fucking skis. So Finland just has badass reputation in perpetuity.
What a bunch of fucking legends. How did they manage to pull that off?
I like, isn't like the guy who killed the most people in World War II Finnish, and it's just like some sniper who killed Soviets.
I wouldn't at all be surprised. They are a violent Fingolian people.
Yeah. Fuck. Oh god, I love this shit. Oh, where's my
Here we go.
window? There it is.
Finnish soldiers, huh? Now that's an oxymoron. Now
No,
you
it isn't though.
Draconian rain, that's wrong think, okay? You need to check your non-Finnish privilege.
Essentially that, yo. We are approaching the 90-minute mark. I think I'm gonna then stop in like a couple minutes because the patrons didn't show up.
Yeah, I came in out of pity. But it's
I'll
just
do,
like, oh,
I'll do another one on the 20th. Yeah, I'll do another one on the 20th, and yeah, just keep that sort of going. So maybe the patrons can come in at that point. And also I'll send them a message on Patreon because I sort of neglected doing that. I've been super just sort of swamped these past few days because I have to do a lot of shit, but I'm very low energy still because I haven't had a vacation. Which I'm gonna have a vacation now. I'm gonna over the weekend. I'm gonna leave and be like gone for most of the next week in what Germans describe as asozialer Vollrausch. I'm gonna type it out.
It's all clicks and whistles to me, bud.
So you can plug it into Google Translate if you so choose.
Oh yeah, I'll get a terrible translation, but I get the general idea.
Because that is basically the big Pentecost tradition. You meet up with friends, you drive to a camping spot, you have copious amounts of soft to medium drugs, and then you do them for like a week.
Sounds like my kind of party. I was thinking of doing that for my birthday, except not leaving the house. But instead I got a fridge, so...
Well, that makes it, but that's not an asocial Vollrausch.
That's a good point. Shit.
Because you need to actively be asocial to be asocial.
I don't know, man. I seem to be getting by just fine just by not doing anything in particular. Uh-oh. People are sending me a shitload of memes now.
Oof,
'Cause I
oof.
keep
They're trying to
forgetting to
get
look
them
at
in
it.
before the stream goes down. I'm telling you. And
Trying.
I mean, like, honestly, it's steadily deteriorated in quality all throughout the seasons. Let's be honest.
I mean, I think most shows that I've ever seen, they tend to fall back to a set of patterns that, while it makes the series extendable, well into the future, it also tends to deteriorate greatly from the
Yeah, it's
quality
procedural.
that
I
it
don't
was.
like procedural shows. I like So like drama shows is the thing about drama shows like Mad Men, for instance, is that you can theoretically draw them out indefinitely because they don't follow like heroes' journey arcs. It's just drama, and I just love that shit. But a lot of people don't like it because they think it's boring because obviously they have no taste. But a lot of procedural shows take care to have a self-contained narrative in each episode where you don't need to see the other episodes in order to understand it. And that's where drama shows like The Sopranos and The Wire, for instance, are good, even though technically The Wire is also a crime procedural. Uh, um, yeah, but I think that like the advent of online streaming, because the reason that you do these self-contained shows is because you can't, it's because people watch television, they don't get to watch every episode. But now that we have Netflix and streaming and shit, we're getting way deeper into very complex narrative shows, and I really like that. Because I used to believe that that wasn't even possible, and then I watched Lost, which is why Lost will always have a special place in my heart. It's the first show that actually showed me that you can have a continuous, complex narrative with complex characters where things progress.
I have noticed that, and I think this is just generally a trend that happens in the market of ideas as the number of people participating increases, so too does the complexity that's possible, or at least that's thought up. So, like some of the shows that I watch on Netflix, I never would have even considered, like would have been turned into a show, and
Yeah.
yet it has, and they're highly successful.
It's like a lot of, especially with the concept of miniseries becoming increasingly popular, there's a lot of things where, oh, this is unadaptable. You can't make this into a film. Which is, especially, I think Game of Thrones actually did a lot of good in that department because, George R. R. Martin explicitly didn't sell the rights to, film people because they never got the scope of the thing. But there's a lot of like really, really excellent works of fiction, like the Mars trilogy by Kim Stanley Robinson, or like the Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons, that you can't really put into the cinematic format, and you need this complex show format for like miniseries, especially. I think they should really do a Dune one.
I think that would be really cool.
I know they're working one on like the big German science fiction classic called The Swarm. I don't know if you've read it. It's genuinely one of my favorite books. It's originally in German. It was translated into English. It's really, really, really good.
Who's the author?
Frank Schätzing. I'm gonna write that
Oh, yeah,
down.
here it is. Yeah, I'm looking for a book to read. I'll check this one out next.
It's like it is actually really good, and it's got a lot of science in it. English arrows can't pierce steel plates. God damn. What did you delete just there? Take a screenshot of this and post the same word underneath complexity. Okay.
I posted out of order. I feel ashamed. I don't know. It's too deep for me, man.
I will partake in this trend. Let me get my paint open. Paint gang, we paint gang, we painting. Like the other day on fucking Tinder, I matched with some chick and she was like, "Oh, I'm here with my best friend, and fucking come over and have a threesome with us." And I'm like, "Dude, we just matched. Can we maybe like get dinner first?"
Jesus Christ.
I mean, it was probably a catfish too. But if it had been like serious, that would have been weird as shit. Yeah.
It's growing. Oh, hey, there we go. Finally, write it right. Oh.
Ah, fuck. No, shit. I need to post this. I thought it would post it the other way around. I'm gonna have to redo this so it's accurate.
Yeah, that's the problem I had.
Stop typing. Don't type anything. I will do it.
I got you.
I will do it. Complexity.
I got you.
But now it's for fuck's sake. I've ruined it. This is it. I have to stop the stream now because I'm too ashamed. Bye.